All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to Soul of the Skull. Here we are as we prepare for Week 16 of the 2023 NFL season. The 7-7 Minnesota Vikings are coming off of a 27-24 loss against the Cincinnati Bengals this past Saturday. Sam O and I believe Big Lou did a post-game show. Oh yeah, I know they did. Big Lou kept calling me and my phone was in my pocket because he had to get into the account. Well, whatever. They did it. And here we are to take a look at the Vikings' upcoming game against the Detroit Lions on Sunday. So this week, I believe the Lions can clinch the NFC North with a win. And yeah, we'll just have to see. So honestly, where do we even start? We can go around and how are we going to say this?
Give our thoughts on the game.
Yeah, we can do that. We can give our thoughts on the game since it was just two of them on Saturday doing the post game. Most of us weren't there. So we'll do that. So I'll let you guys start first and then I'll close it out.
I think I said this on the post game show, but turnovers.
Hi, Big Lou.
Hi, Big Lou.
You better be catching a lot of fish, sweetie.
Turnovers, and then the Flores fourth quarter defense was the reason we lost this game. I mean, I thought Mullins played pretty good other than the 2 interceptions, but I think he'll clean those up going forward.
You good, Sam, or do you want me to go?
Go ahead.
Big Lou's going on the tear here in the comments.
Yeah. Wow. He has time to comment, but he doesn't have time to join us. Okay. Yeah, I liked what I saw from Ty Chandler on Saturday. I mean, it was the best running back performance of the Vikings all year. I mean, we've all said it multiple times. We all thought Ty Chandler should have been running back 1 on this team. I still like Madison, but have him go back to what he was last year, being a running back 2. But yeah, Mullins made some interesting decisions with the football, a couple bad turnovers. Big Lou, I don't care what you're doing. But yeah, overall, it stunk. Jake Browning lit us up in the fourth quarter. And yeah, Vikings now sit at what, 7-7? Are we still the 6th seed as of right now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we still hold firm in the 6th seed. We have 2 tough games with the Lions and obviously the Packers next week on Sunday night. But looking at this Lions game, it's a game we can win. It's a game we can get amped for. But you also know the Lions are going to be very amped to try to win their first division title in over 30 years. So it's going to be exciting.
All right.
I wasn't able to watch the game, so I don't really have any takeaways from it. But it sounds like Ty Chandler kind of put on a spectacle.
Yeah, I missed the first quarter, I'll be honest. So anything in the first quarter I did not see. But
we scored an opening drive touchdown for the first time all year.
I saw it was a Ty Chandler touchdown. I looked at the box score when the second quarter started, but I didn't actually see what was going on. But yeah, so my main takeaway is that, I mean, they say in the NFL, turnovers kill you. They literally killed the Vikings this week. They had 2 or 3 turnovers. They had 2. Nick Mullins had the 2 interceptions, but the thing that killed them, they were both in the red zone. They were up 7-3 heading into halftime, and I mean, they could have been up 21-3 heading into halftime. They had opportunities to score. Ultimately, they were unable to do it, and I mean, it was just brutal seeing you leave points on the board when instead of trying to force a throw or do something you don't have to do, you throw an interception, and then you can't get 3 or 6, and instead you end up with 0 on the drive. So that was what I thought. Turnovers were brutal. We saw, I mean, this season they've had troubles with turnovers. I think they lead the NFL, or maybe they're tied with the lead for turnovers this season. And then we saw that Las Vegas game, and I believe they had 0 in that game. And it was like, okay, maybe they got their act together. But then we saw their turnovers plaguing the team this past Saturday. So hopefully they can get that cleaned up, because that's going to be the big deal here. So that said, unless someone else has something to say, I think we can look at their decision at the quarterback position to stick with Nick Mullins. The Minnesota Vikings announced they're going to stick with Mullins. Mullins this past week went 26 for 33, 303 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He had a passer rating of 99.9. I mean, personally, take the turnovers out of the equation, I think he did a really good job. But then you put the turnovers in the equation, yeah, not the best job. But I'm definitely okay throwing him out there again. I feel like if they're going to get anything going and to put them into the playoffs, they need at least a little tinge of consistency. So I don't think it's going to help them if they keep going back and forth every single game between quarterbacks, because your offense is never going to be able to get a rhythm going. So I'm fine with this decision, and I'm also fine if they keep a short leash on him too. If he does make a brutal mistake, I'm okay with them swapping him out, but I at least think they should keep Mullins out there. He did a good job to me. He was a lot more accurate than Josh Dobbs is. He, for the most part, made the throws he needed, and yeah, I thought he did a fine job out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the decision. Keep rolling Mullins. You just watch him. You watch him in the game. I mean, you see he was checking more and more plays at the line. He was doing a lot more of that stuff than Josh Dobbs does. He wasn't, he was going through his progressions, not looking for one read and then just trying to scramble. And it ultimately led to a lot of those completions. He completed a lot of his passes. I'm not surprised there were some early mistakes out of Mullins just because, he hasn't started a game in 2 years. But that's the consistency that we look for when you bring in when Nick Mullins was brought in, because if you remember, when we traded for Nick Mullins, our backup quarterbacks were Sean Mannion and Kellen Mond. So that's the consistency you look for in a guy like Mullins, and keep rolling with him going forward. I don't think this is, when you're in the thick of a playoff race, I don't think it's a time to start experimenting with like a Jaron Hall or something like that. So I agree with the decision going forward, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think continuing with Mullins is going to be our best bet. What people always forget is that Mullins is a backup quarterback for a reason. He's not going to be making the throws that Kirk Cousins is making. He's not going to be, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, any of the top-tier quarterbacks. However, he threw for over 300 yards. I don't think Dobbs did that once this season. So I think being able to generate yardage like that and 2 scores, it's pretty hard to say no to that. Plus, our defense, they're only getting better. They've only been getting better all season. So if our defense can hold a team to maybe 17 points, I think that would be really ideal, and I think the Vikings could come away with another win or two.
I think we're all in the same consensus here with Mullins. The only thing I would say about Mullins to critique is you just can't turn the ball over. It's as simple as that. But it's just the 2 turnovers he had, we had opportunities to score right in the red zone. On that 3rd and 10, he threw a bad interception and then tried to throw a ball away, and it went right in the hands of the D lineman, which left about 6 points out there. Just going forward, just try not to make the critical errors. Try to avoid them at all, best as possible.
So I just looked here, and I was able to find, I believe in his career, Nick Mullins has had 27 turnovers as a quarterback, and he's played 26 games. So overall, he is somewhat turnover prone, but that's just what you're going to get with Nick Mullins. So I guess it's not all that much of a surprise that he did make some errors like that. But you guys already said it. He did, for the most part, he did a good job out there. I was definitely a stand here for Josh Dobbs and his style of play. I liked the athletic quarterback, but watching Nick Mullins and just the accuracy he had kind of made me miss Kirk Cousins a little bit, and watching him be able to throw balls that Josh Dobbs couldn't throw just because Josh Dobbs has such a problem with being accurate. So, yeah, I think we're all kind of on a consensus here. It's okay starting Nick Mullins here. Either way, I don't think the Vikings are really going to look at Jaron Hall with them in the thick of a playoff race. They're not going to be willing to risk it because, overall, I guess I don't have like 538 or whatever pulled up, but it's pretty safe to say more than likely the Vikings are probably going to make the playoffs. There's a whole myriad of teams that are 7-7, but the Vikings hold the conference record tiebreaker. So as long as they go 2-1, they're pretty much guaranteed to make it in. And
would you still be okay with Jaron Hall being the backup though, and keeping Dobbs as the emergency quarterback?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That works for me. I don't know. Dobbs he was just so, like, towards the end, he was just so bad. Like, it was hard to watch.
Once he learned the playbook, it felt like
the
regression
just
started.
running around out there. Yeah.
We saw the offense click so much more on Saturday, and I think that's just because Nick Mullins was at quarterback, and he's a lot more Kirk Cousins-esque, whereas KO didn't know what to do with a quarterback like Josh Dobbs since he's never really worked with one before. So I think for maybe the benefit of the fans, a guy like Josh Dobbs is better because it's like something we've never seen. But for the benefit of the team and Kevin O'Connell's play calling and his offense, a guy like Nick Mullins is definitely the better choice here. With
If you
that
go
said,
back to previous episodes, I believe that I said pretty much the same thing, that Mullins is not Kirk Cousins, but he has almost the exact same play style, and that's the way our offense is created. It's created for a pocket passer, not a scrambler. And they didn't change it to play to Dobbs' strength, and that's kind of why he failed. So I think that this changing to the pocket passer style of quarterback is just going to be so much more beneficial for the team.
Mm-hmm. So with that said, we can look at something that you guys touched on already, and that's Ty Chandler in the running back position here. So the Vikings gave Ty Chandler the rock this past week with Alexander Mattison out with an injury. Looks like more than likely Alexander Mattison will probably be returning this week, although we will have to just see. Ty Chandler had 23 carries for 132 yards and a touchdown. He had 5.7 yards per carry. And in the passing game, he also had 3 receptions for 25 yards. So, I mean, we've been looking for the burst of Ty Chandler this year. We saw the burst, then it kind of faded away. But this week with him as the lead back, I mean, we saw it again. And Kevin O'Connell was asked about this. It might have been yesterday, it might have been Monday. He was asked about kind of Alexander Mattison in the running back group, and he said Ty Chandler will get more run, but he wasn't willing to say Ty Chandler will be the number one going forward, even though I think he will be.
I think he has to be. I mean, when you look at the Vikings ran a little differently with Chandler too last week. I got the chance to watch some highlights, watch some random clips from the game. I don't think they pulled a single guard or tackle or center all game. They were more just running those zone gap schemes, and I think Chandler really thrived in that. That's something that Tennessee loves to do, so he's used to it. Same thing with North Carolina, and I think that's more of Chandler's game, running those inside zone, outside zone, all that stuff, not pulling guys, just letting them find a hole and run through it, and it really seemed to help with the Bengals. Now the Bengals did lose one of their best defensive linemen early in the game. I don't think it really would have mattered a ton. I still think he probably goes for over 100 yards. But I think just kind of adapting to how Chandler plays. I mean, if that's going to benefit the Vikings, why not give him more run going forward? I still think they'll use Madison, but he's more of that power back, get 2 yards type of guy.
I think the reason Kevin isn't switching is just simply because he's too stubborn. He's not willing to just hand it over to the rookie and say, you're going to be the starter now. I mean, they're not paying Alexander Mattison a whole heck of a lot of money, but they don't want the guy they just extended to be the starting running back to suddenly take a seat now to a rookie that was drafted, or not a rookie. That was dumb that I said that. In theory, though, he is kind of like a rookie because this is his first time getting an actual opportunity. But I mean, he was what, 5th round pick, if I remember right, 4th or 5th. Yeah. So I think he's just too stubborn to say, yeah, we're going to run with Ty Chandler moving forward. He kind of has to split the workload because that's where their money's invested. Whether it's a good thing or not, and I'll probably say it's not a good thing, but whatever. With that said, we can keep looking around. I mean, overall, we've talked about the Vikings offense. They, in total, has had a really good game. Someone, I believe it might have been Sam O, someone said Jordan Addison was due for a touchdown this week. I believe last week somebody said that. We talked about how he was in a touchdown drought, and then someone said he'll probably have one this game, and sure enough, he did. Jordan Addison put up 6 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So finally a bounce back, and it looks like having Justin Jefferson back is going to significantly help him. Mm-hmm. Justin Jefferson had a really good game too. 7 catches, 84 yards. Hawk had 6 for 63, and that was kind of the substantial 3 targets there. So, I mean, Justin Jefferson being back is great, and not just for Justin Jefferson. It's great for the whole offense, and we've been saying that for a while, and it's going to be exciting to see what they can do as they continue to push for the playoffs here. So, yes, On defense, the Vikings were very good for a while, and then they had a bit of a fourth quarter poo-poo fest go on. They were up 17-3, I believe, heading into the fourth. It looked like they were probably going to have the game kind of under wraps, and then suddenly Jake Browning and the Bengals came storming back to tie it at 24. So
I think the biggest letdown on the defensive side, at least from the highlights that I watched, it looked like a Caleb Evans allowed a lot of receptions, a lot of deep passes just throughout the entire game, but especially there in that fourth quarter. So I think, a Caleb Evans kind of let the team down. Maybe a possibility that Mekhi Blackman will start getting some more playing time. I know he's been getting a good amount already, but I think that he'll probably end up getting a little bit more now.
I think, well, Caleb was getting burnt. I mean, it really feels like Zach Taylor and Cincy kind of did a good job of figuring out this Vikings defense, putting all these guys on the line. I mean, one of the downsides to putting all these guys on the line of scrimmage right before the snap is if they do have to drop 5-10 yards, it's really, really hard for them to get back there in time and still be able to see the field and see who's there. So they kind of did a good job of getting the ball out quick, and it ultimately had led to some success and pretty much the reason they won the game.
Give credit to T. Higgins. He made some outstanding plays, especially on that second touchdown. That extension was wild.
Yeah.
Big-time players make big-time plays, and Jake Browning had a little bit of motivation knowing the Vikings cut him so many times. And
yeah, I guess I could be wrong here because you guys probably know more about like actual football than I do, but it seemed like the Vikings were playing a bit more zone and they were playing the guys back a bit more during the fourth quarter. Maybe it's because they were being too conservative because they had a 2-score lead, or maybe they were just switching it up. But that's what I seem to notice is that they were playing a bit less aggressive overall. And
well, let's talk a little bit of strategy here, right? Zone is meant to give up a certain spot on the field. Yeah. That's the entire point of zone. Take away the deep shot, give your guys a little bit of a rest because man is difficult to play. And so generally what they're playing, I think they're playing a lot of cover 3, a lot of cover 4. What you give up there is the short pass underneath 10 yards. That was the plan, at least, right? And unfortunately, that just didn't happen. Jake Browning and the Bengals receiving core was just really able to exploit our players and just kind of find big gaps in our zones. They were just stretching us vertically, and our flat players and our hook curl players weren't dropping as deep, just because they're only supposed to play around 10 to 15 yards. So them being able to make those big plays, a lot of that is just having playmakers, which is really unfortunate. Man is tough to play for an entire game. It gets really, really exhausting. And so you gotta kind of look at the strategy here too, because KOC, I think I guess it would be the defensive coordinator, but Brian Flores, his scheme was perfect pretty much. I would say zone in the fourth quarter when you're up by that much is all you should run. However, it just didn't work.
Yeah. And, it doesn't help too when, Jake Browning threw up a couple jump balls and T. Higgins just straight up went up and got him. I mean, that doesn't help much. I mean, if some of those get knocked down, you win the game. Again, there's so many opportunities to get 1 yard on a QB sneak at the end of the game. You have two plays to get 1 yard and you don't. I mean, you get that, you probably go down to field goal range and win the game, how the offense was moving that game. You avoid just one of those turnovers. They're both in field goal range. You kick a field goal, you win the game. I mean, there's just so many missed opportunities this game. And, it's not all on the defense. It's not all on the offense. It's on the whole team. It's partially on Kevin O'Connell. I didn't think the play calling was bad this game, but I think one of the things that we've seen this year that's been a lot different than last year when the Vikings were so good in those 1-score games is that when you look at, not necessarily the play calling, but how they handle these late game situations, it's been a lot worse this year than it was last year. Like when you should field a punt, when you should let it bounce into the end zone, like Brandon Powell fielded a punt at like the 6-yard line at the end of the game and he only got like 4 yards. And it's like, what are you doing? Let that bounce into the end zone. So just one example of some other end game, late game scenarios that have just been bad this year. And partially it's probably the reason the Vikings are 7-7 instead of, I don't know, 8 or 9 wins at this point.
Yeah, We're going back to the failed tush pushes. I look up Brandon Powell. He's 5'8", 181, and that's your lead pusher
Yeah,
from behind.
that's just not
That's not smart.
no. But
I'm bigger than Brandon Powell. Not in muscle. It's mostly fat, but I'm bigger than Brandon Powell based off of height and weight. I don't understand why a guy like Hawkinson doesn't come out there and be the lead pusher, Josh Oliver. So again, if we're going back to the little scheme, that's got to be different, or a bigger receiver's got to come in and push. But yeah, I didn't really understand that, doing it twice when it clearly didn't work on third down. Why go back to it on fourth down?
I mean, I like the call to go for it on do that on fourth down. I mean, it just comes down to Mullins. You have to get a little gritty, get dirty. He did have some trouble with the snap, but I mean, you have to feel the snap and just push forward and get a yard, get the first down. I mean, regardless of who's pushing you, regardless of what you're doing, it's on you to feel that snap clean. He feels that snap cleanly. It's probably a first down. You know, the offensive line, just get lower than the other guy, just get a push, move those guys, get them on the ground, and that's all you had to do to get that first down.
If it was up to me, honestly, on third down, I was fine with the play call. I wouldn't have done it on fourth down again. After they failed once, here's what I would have done. I would have had Mullins under center, CJ Ham behind me, and then Ty Chandler behind him, fake a pitch to Chandler, give it to CJ Ham, have him just bowling ball right through. We haven't seen any CJ Ham all year.
No, he's more of a blocker this year, which is fine. But, I mean, he is one of the better, more versatile fullbacks in the game. That is something you'd like to see more of, just as a wrinkle. And they have given it to C.J. Ham. He has caught some passes, but nothing near as much. I mean, he had a good year last year. But part of that's just because KOC loves his 11 personnel, so you're not using fullbacks as much. He's using more as like a extra blocker, almost like a tight end.
I think Ham has had only one carry all year. And, I mean, I just miss him on, like, third down and one, just – grinding up the middle for a couple yards to get the first down. Like, if it was up to me, I don't see why they wouldn't do that. And I know
his one carry for 7 yards this year.
Yeah,
he was technically the running back on that play. They just had him lined up in the backfield and they gave him the ball.
And I know Sam O talked about him liking the 11 personnel, but I mean, if you're a head coach, if you're an offensive mind, you have to learn to be able to adapt to different situations. You can't always go with just like your primary, if you get what I'm saying. You can't just only do that. You have to be able to take different situations and hone it, again, pretty much to the situation. So,
well, you make a good point there, but the whole system, you have to understand the whole system Kevin comes from. And I was honestly kind of surprised they brought back CJ Ham when Kevin O'Connell got hired, just because of that reason. But the system Kevin O'Connell comes from, you're starting to see other coaches come from, is like that McVay style system. And that's just, I mean, it's built around 11 personnel. So, I mean, I doubt he's going to change much. I was pretty surprised when they brought back CJ Ham, just because, he's a great player, great dude, obviously, Minnesota boy. But, when you use 11 personnel, you just don't need him that much. And I get he's a great special teamer and he's a captain, but he is still about $10 to $12 million a year, or not a year, but that's his contract. So, I mean, that's my thoughts.
I'm going to bring up the CJ Ham contract because now that has me wondering.
I think it's like 3 years, 10 million or 12 million or something, maybe less. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
CJ Ham has a cap hit of 2.7 million this year. It's 3.3 approximately next year, and then it's 3.4 the year after. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm not a football expert by any means. I mean, you guys probably know more about football than I do. I'm just a fan, really, that just kind of shares my input. But I mean, to me, I know he is naturally a blocker, but I mean, just in my opinion, we're not seeing the natural Ham. And I mean, to me, again, he is a natural blocker, but he can do both. And that's not what we're seeing anymore, is we're not seeing him do both. He's only doing one and not the other anymore. So that is one thing I'd like to bring back. And I mean, I don't want to bring it to this extreme, but if they're not going to use CJ Ham, like how at least I feel, I'm not the coach, but how I feel is like his natural skill set, then why is he on the team taking up $3.3 million of your cap when you're not even using him for what he's like really there for, what his skill set is? So, whatever. That's just me. But yeah, or else they could have had CJ Ham as the pusher. I mean, he's huge.
Anyone that was
He's a
bigger
beast.
than Brandon Powell. No disrespect to Brandon Powell, but
He's the smallest player on the team. He was the worst player to have push. That
he's
makes
a
zero
strong guy.
sense at
He's a
all.
strong guy, but they're definitely stronger on the team.
He's 180 pounds. CJ Ham is like, what, 220?
Exactly.
That's another 40 pounds of just beef that you got to just push.
His last name's Ham. He's built. Let him push.
Exactly. Which, honestly, I think perfect last name for that dude.
Absolutely.
Ham.
It is wonderful. So we look at the Lions. The Lions they would be what, 10 and
I think they're 10-4, right?
Okay.
Or 10 and
so the
5
Lions
or
are
something
10
like
and 4 heading into this game. I mean, they were really, really good at the start of the year. They've still been a good team, but they haven't been the same dominant team we've seen. They put up a really good game though on Saturday night against the Broncos. I was not watching any of it, but I mean, I just kind of looked at the score and saw it was like 40-20 or something like that. So, I mean, this is definitely going to be a tough game for the Vikings, but if they can get everything together, if they can show that B-flow defense that we've been seeing over the past how many weeks up until kind of the end of this past week's game, and if their offense clicks like they did last week, they definitely can win this game. This is a very winnable game at home in front of a big crowd. I mean, the Vikings haven't been at home for like 4 weeks now, pretty much. So, yeah, so there's going to be a lot of fans there. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of white, hopefully, in the stands again. And
White out, yep.
definitely a winnable game here for the Vikings, but it's not going to be easy. I mean, none of these last 3 games are easy, but this is definitely one they should win. And if they're going to make the playoffs, this is kind of a game they need to win, either this one or that Week 18 game. But more than likely, you're probably not going to be able to win in Detroit. They're not going to be resting starters. If anything, they're probably still going to be playing for seeding at that point. So they're going to be trying to win. It's pretty much just what I'm saying is can't get swept by the Lions, or else that's a big problem. And you're probably not going to make it in.
And you look at how the playoffs are shaping up right now, and it looks like, I mean, you're probably going to have to go play Detroit the next week anyway, if you do make the playoffs, especially because the Vikings are slated to have the 6 seed right now. Detroit's more than likely going to get the 3 seed. They could maybe move up to the 2 with how the Eagles have been playing, but I mean, or anything like that. But I mean, you can go to Ford Field and win. This is a team that the Vikings have had success. They had a lot of success against the Lions until that 2021 game. I think they beat them eight straight games. But the Vikings have had a lot of success against Detroit at US Bank Stadium, especially. And this is the best Detroit team I've seen as a fan. They're never this good. They made the playoffs a few years ago, but they were like the 6th seed or whatever. So yeah, I think if you're going to beat Detroit, this has to be the game to do it, and I think they are going to have to beat them once. So this pretty much has to be the game because they have lost the last 2 at Ford Field. So it's a tough game, but I think it's one you have to win.
These next 3 games are going to be playoff atmosphere games to get you ready anyway. So embrace it. It's your rivals. You got to come out on top. You got to get in the playoffs.
Because, yeah, I mean, I definitely think, or how do I say this here? A random thought just kind of occurred in my mind, and it's that obviously you want to be the highest seed you possibly can, or the lowest seed. I mean, depending on how you look at it, the lower number, obviously, the better. But, like, for the Lions, if the playoffs ended like they are right now, if you're the Lions, maybe you'd rather be the 3 seed and play the Vikings without Kirk Cousins at home than play the Rams or a team like that has been, I mean, the Rams won 3 out of their past 4 or something. And I mean, they've been playing really well. And I'm not saying that's how it's going to be or that they're going to purposely try and do something like that. But I mean, you do have to think about scenarios like that where you almost might rather be the 3 seed than playing a team that just snuck into the playoffs, but they've been hot over the past 5 weeks or whatever it is to be able to sneak in.
I don't really think the Vikings would love to play, or the Lions would love to play the Vikings in the playoff. I mean, you look like this Vikings team obviously is not a Super Bowl team by any means, but you look at how they're constructed. You look at how this defense has been playing. I mean, you look at how this offense can play with a backup quarterback. It's not great, but like it's still good. And you see teams like this, sometimes they can get in the playoffs and they can win a first round game, and then they end up going to like San Francisco and getting killed or something. But you look at a team like the Vikings, they're a division opponent that Detroit plays a lot, and I'm a firm believer in, when you play a division game, anything can happen, regardless of records. It's like playing a college football rivalry game in November. It's like anything can happen. And I think if you're the Rams, I think you'd rather play a team or if you're the Lions, you'd rather play a team like the Rams that you don't play as much. And I think they'd have a better shot at, but I still think the Lions would beat the Vikings. I just think the Vikings would give their Lions more fits in the playoffs, but it's a story for another time, I guess.
I guess when I'm saying seeding obviously matters because you want to be the lower seed, but now that I think about it, you don't just want to, or do you say it higher or lower? What is the correct term for this?
Higher seed, or
like
I usually just say like you're trying to get the 3 seed or you're trying to get the 4 seed.
So like if the Lions want to be the 2 seed, that might matter. Obviously, it matters for your first round matchup. You're gonna have a home game no matter what, but it matters for your first round matchup. But the more I think about it, the more I realize it matters for the later rounds of the playoffs because you're probably gonna win your first round game. Obviously, you never know; anything can happen, but more than likely you would. But it's more home field advantage in like the second round, I guess, is where seeding really comes in.
Yeah. So for the 2, if the 2 wins their first game, right? Do they play the 1 their next game?
No, they're guaranteed 2 home games. So if you get the 2 seed, you're guaranteed. Actually, if you get the 3 seed, I think you're guaranteed 2 home games too. Or no?
No, you're not.
Because then if the 2 seed wins, you have to go play the 1.
Wait, so if the 7 seed were to if the 7,
so it's like 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, and then the 1 seed will play the winner of 4 and 5.
They would.
The lowest seed would be.
The lowest seed plays the 1 seed.
So if the 7 seed were to upset the 2 seed, the 7 seed would play the 1 seed in the divisional round.
So yeah,
that makes sense then.
The 2 seed is still one you really want, even though it's not a first round bye anymore, which kind of sucks. But
the only game you wouldn't have home field advantage would be the conference championship.
And there's still a chance you could if the 1 seed loses. We've seen that happen before. So.
Right.
Though the 2 seed still is pretty it's like a big thing. The 3 and 4 aren't as big, but they're still
okay.
Mm-hmm. So I think that kind of does it for that.
Mm-hmm.
Are we ready to continue, folks?
Let's look at some bad predictions we're about to make.
Let's do it. Let's continue. So here is the spreadsheet. Here is our predictions.
A lot of green.
There is actually a lot of green this week. That is indeed correct. So we'll look at what's come off the board first. I said Brandon Staley would be fired before the end of the season, and he was on Friday after that absolute clunker of a game they had against the Raiders on Thursday of last week. What a game that was.
Yeah.
Right after we just talked about how lame that game would be. It was lame, but in a different way. Because they were up like 42-0 at halftime or something.
Talk about a response after scoring 0 points. Jeez.
49. Defense
Antonio Pierce had to get after his team all week or something to get out there and go score 63 points. That's crazy.
They were probably just running gassers all week. That's all they did.
Probably. Jeez.
I said Jake Browning would complete less than 67% of his passes. I probably had that right until the fourth quarter hit, but he completed 70, I think.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of the worst breaks I've ever had on this show, probably ever. I said Ivan Pace would have at least 10 tackles against Cincy. He did not. He had 9. My original prediction was he would have 9, and then I decided to change it to 10 because I was feeling confident. So it's red. Terrible, terrible beat that was. Sam Z said Ty Chandler would have at least 300 rushing yards this season. He eclipsed 300 with this 133-yard game this week. So he's at 330 or something now. He said JJ would have at least 2 touchdowns in his first 2 games back. He did not. I really love this prediction from Big Lou because Aaron Rodgers played
4 snaps. He played 4 snaps.
Way back, he said whatever, this is before he was traded to the Jets, he said whatever team Aaron Rodgers ends up on will have a record under 500. And the team Aaron Rodgers played on, he played 4 snaps. So it's really just, yeah. So it's a dumb prediction, but it's kind of funny. But, it's correct. Jets are going to be under 500. Matt said Easton Stick would account for at least 2 touchdowns, and they were probably garbage time. I wasn't watching any of that game.
They didn't have, so everything after was garbage time.
Yeah. You said Josh Allen would not throw a pick against Dallas. He was playing very well. And then they took him out at almost with 10 minutes left in the game. They took him out.
They steamrolled Dallas.
Yeah. You said Tommy DeVito would throw for at least 225. He only played half the game, if even.
He got hurt.
Yeah.
Was it a concussion?
I believe so.
You know how NFL, you don't see the NFL graphic, see how they rule that? Oh, they classify that injury? Head. So it'll say out, head. It's like, ooh. There's your fun little tidbit for the day.
Thank you. Sam O said Nick Mullins would throw for at least 2 touchdowns, and he did. He said Zach Wilson would not throw an interception against Miami, and he did not. He also was hurt halfway into the game, too.
They also scored 0 points, but that's beyond.
They got shut out.
He said TC would score a touchdown out of the Wildcat, and it was not.
No.
He did score a touchdown, but it wasn't out of the Wildcat.
Nope.
And then he said the Vikings would be within 1 game of the division lead when they played Detroit, and they're 3 back.
Yeah, they had a chance if they would have won and Detroit lost. But
they could be a game back in Week 18 potentially.
Yeah.
Then they'd be playing for the division.
Yeah, that'd be big, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, it's still possible.
It's possible. I mean, if they win, if the Vikings can beat Detroit and then Detroit has to go play Dallas, there's a possibility. But the Vikings do still have to beat Green Bay.
Yeah.
But I don't want to look too far ahead.
We'll see. So here is our prediction, or there's our percentage. I'm at 35. Sam Z's at 39. Big Lou is at 37.9. Matt's at 29. And then Sam O, I don't know why I did 3 decimals. I think that number is wrong. I might have to recalculate it. It's either 0.61 or 0.65. Because I don't know why I put 3 decimals, but whatever. And yeah.
46.153.
46.15. So I just didn't take out the 6.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. With that said, I'll kick us off. We can go around. Let's do this. My first prediction is that JJ, Addison, and Hawk will all have at least 50 yards receiving against Detroit. Well, I mean, any yards, but they're probably going to be receiving. We said, Addison had 100 and something. Justin Jefferson had 70 something or 80 something, and then Hawk also had 60 something as well. Yeah. This could be another great game at home for them.
And Detroit does not have a great defense by any means either.
I looked up their passing defense, and their passing yardage defense is pretty much the same as the Vikings is.
Yeah, so they're not great on defense, but they have a really good offense.
It could be a shootout game.
Yeah,
which I would love to see.
Definitely see that.
All right. My first prediction is that the Vikings offense will have 2 or more turnovers against the Detroit Lions week 16. I think that the Detroit Lions defense is one of the best units in the NFL. And I think they're going to force a couple of turnovers against us.
Really?
I think any unit that goes up against the Vikings becomes pretty good at forcing turnovers because the Vikings can't stop shooting themselves in the foot.
True. There haven't been many that have forced 2, though. Most just force 1.
We'll see. Big Lou hasn't put his predictions in yet, but he will. He'll get there.
He's ice fishing.
He is.
You better be catching some pike or walleye.
Speaking of, Matt was ice fishing. Was it last week?
This
week?
Last Saturday during the post-game show.
Did you catch any fish?
I caught off of a dead stick. I caught a 19.5-inch pike.
Oh, attaboy.
But then my roommate caught a 22-inch walleye.
Attaboy. Better than Big Lou just because of that. Just kidding. We have no idea if Big Lou's caught anything or not. We're just saying that because he's Big Lou.
We're just guessing. Anyway, I said Amon-Ra St. Brown will have over 100 receiving yards versus Minnesota. obviously he's the catalyst for this offense. They want to get him going right away because it opens up everything else. It opens up Laporta. It can open up a deep shot to Jameson Williams. So I think Goff and St. Brown will have that connection going.
I'm trying to see if I can find his career stats against the Vikings, but I don't know.
I don't think he's been too crazy good. Actually, I think he did really well last second game of last year. English is hard.
Yeah. All right. Also, Sam Z, I don't think you were on last Wednesday, were you?
I don't think so. No, I had final stuff.
This is really random, but we were talking about how funny it is when Big Lou is mad. Can you agree?
I can confirm, and it's not difficult to make that happen.
Big Lou was mad because of his, I think, calc final or something, and apparently he was throwing his calculator around and stuff. And we were talking about how just funny it is when Big Lou's mad, and it's hard not to laugh watching him be so serious.
You know, Big Lou carries himself very seriously, and I think for us four that are here right now, we're a little bit more laid back.
Yeah.
Not always so serious. And Big Lou's a very serious guy. But yes, it is not difficult to make him angry. And yeah.
No, yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. I remember, last week it's like 11 p.m. He's like getting pretty pissed at his math homework and studying for that calc final. He's like tossing his calculator on the table and stuff like that. So
I mean, calc's no joke though. Calc's no joke.
It's not, and I don't blame him for it just because it's finals and it's calc, and he's in like a lot of tough classes just because he's an engineering major. But
yeah. I was doing the same thing with my periodic table for my chem final. So,
and then you failed it. Sorry to report that to the people, but he did.
No, yeah, I got a 52%, but I still passed the class with a B. So,
yes, that's all that matters.
I appreciate you, Sam, for being so open about sharing your grades to our fans, and Joel, thanks for putting him on blast.
Of course. Yeah. Hey, I got a 93% on my theology final though. So,
attaboy. Matt, I'm surprised you didn't jump out at the opportunity to roast him, since you're the one that always has beef with him.
I don't want to like make fun of people for grades. And I honestly did not know.
He respects me because I was put on blast, and now I'm just being honest about it.
I love how he wears it. He wears his heart on his sleeve, man. You gotta love it. Right, what does Sam O predict?
Okay, hold on.
Oh yeah, my prediction.
To circle back to the Big Lou thing, I got one more thing to say. This is a story for another time.
Oh boy,
but
we all have ADHD, if you couldn't tell.
I have a friend of mine who, I mean, I'm still decent friends with him, but not as much anymore. But one time when we were younger, I beat him in Madden, and then he kicked me out of his house because I beat him in a game of Madden.
Oh, I know who you're talking about too.
Have I told you about it before?
Yeah.
And I don't have an Xbox. All I have is a Wii, so I've never played Madden on Xbox before. And then I went into his own house and beat him somehow, and then he made me leave. It's really funny.
I wasn't the friend, but I could totally see myself being that person too. When I was younger, I would always get so upset if I lost.
It was funny. So now we laugh about it.
All right. Moving on. All right, my first prediction, I actually forgot what it was. You want to do it for me, Joel?
Yes,
I got you.
Oh, yeah. The Vikings will score at least 25 plus points versus Detroit. Detroit's been known to give up some points. They've given up over 30 multiple times, I think 3 or 4. And this is a pretty good Vikings offense. They gave up 28 points to the Bears. So I think this will be a pretty high scoring game. And I think that the Vikings will account for 25 plus points.
It'll probably be a shootout game no matter what. Safe
and
to
so
say.
The Lions like it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I said Jordan Addison will have another touchdown this week. After his long touchdown drought, he put up 2 last week. He'll have another one here again. I think he leads all rookies with touchdown catches, I think, if I remember right. Unless Puka's ahead of him.
I don't know if Puka's ahead of him.
What about Laporta? Was that? Are you only talking receivers?
Oh, I bet it's only wide receivers, actually.
Okay.
Laporta had 3 last week, didn't he? Or 4?
Yeah, he had 3 last week.
Hat trick.
Crazy.
All right. My second prediction here is that Ty Chandler will not have a 100-yard game again the rest of the regular season. I think that, Ty Chandler, obviously, I think he's a really good running back. However, I think that the Vikings are going to try to go more to a passing attack now that Jefferson is back. And I don't see Chandler being able to get the amount of carries he would need to get. Because how many carries did he have this last game? 20?
Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere around 20, I think. And so I don't think he'll get close to 20 now that Madison's back. So I don't see him getting another 100-yard game the rest of the season.
Yeah, if he's splitting with Madison, it'll be tough unless he breaks off 50-yard runs.
Yeah.
Right.
Laporta and Addison are tied, by the way, for touchdowns this year.
How many?
They both have 9.
Is anyone ahead of them?
Yeah, Mike Evans and Tyreek Hill. And Cortland Sutton.
Oh, so no, but no.
Oh, but no rookies.
Oh, yeah, no rookies.
Oh, nice.
And Cortland's son has been a revelation this year.
Yeah,
He's on one of my fantasy teams, so that's kind of been nice.
Yeah.
My second very good prediction, Nick Mullins will not have a turnover versus Detroit. Now, remember, look at that other green one I put. I said Josh Allen wouldn't throw an interception. He went like 9 straight games with throwing a pick. I have a lot of faith in Mullins to take care of the ball this week, and it's going to eat me in the butt on the very first drive when he turns the ball over. But you know what? I like being positive. I may agree Ty Chandler might not have another 100-yard game this year, but I would have said he would have. I would have just said it because I like being positive.
I mean, he didn't turn the ball over in the second half, and I think he kind of settled in more. So I like that prediction.
Matt, you're probably the most positive pessimist I've ever met in my life.
That's really funny because I'm so negative.
I know. That's
I'm
what I'm
insanely
saying.
negative.
All right.
But when it comes to my Vikings, I have a little bit of optimism.
You want me to do it again?
Yeah.
I can do it.
Right on.
All right. Sam Laporta will have 50-plus yards and 1 touchdown versus the Vikings. Laporta's been on a tear. He's having a historically good rookie season out of Iowa. No surprise there. But, yeah, I mean, he's going to be a stud. And I think, this defense, they're going to have a tough time. I think Laporta's going to give them some fits. And I think he'll go for 50 and 1 at least.
Is Laporta going to be around for like 4 years and then they send him away like they did Hawk?
Hawk just asked for a lot of money, which was well deserved, but it's just the Lions thought they could draft another one.
They got Laporta.
Really did.
I think hopefully they stick with him. He's a really good tight end, and he's obviously coming out of Iowa. So
hopefully in a couple of years, there's another tight end from Iowa that Detroit will just draft. And
they do. They have Eric All and Luke Lockheed, who are 2 really good tight ends right now, and I bet they'll both be NFL guys.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's me. Also, really random. I got a notification from the Vikings app that said, "Hey, Vikings fan, you attended games this season.
I saw that
review your full season recap." How did know I was at a game?
Preseason.
Well, yeah, but how did it know?
Probably has your location. You turn your
government is tracking you always.
They must be. Whatever.
I didn't get that notification.
I believe Daniil leads the NFL in sacks, or he's tied.
He's a half sack behind someone. Someone has 16.
TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Or is it Myles Garrett?
Daniil will have at least a sack and a half in each of the final 3 games the rest of the season. I don't know if he's going to lead the NFL at the end of the year or not, but I mean, I think he had 3 on Saturday. And I mean, he's just been incredible this year. He's going to prove why the Vikings should lock him up.
Yeah.
And keep him around.
Yeah, you gotta pay him. I'm sick of it's been like a multi-season thing where Daniil gets re-signed at the last minute. Just get him here 3-4 years and just get it over with. That's what I think about the Neal situation.
All right. My last prediction is that Justin Jefferson will have exactly 2 more touchdowns the remainder of the season.
Any guesses on which games they could be?
Can I do that for extra credit?
No.
No, I just want to hear what you think.
Well, one for sure against Green Bay, and then I think he'll score at Ford Field, not at home.
Okay.
No touchdown this week.
I think he'll have
No
those.
touchdown this week.
I have a feeling he'll score a touchdown this week. They'll try
I
to
can
force
see
him
what
to
I'm
do it.
probably dead wrong, but that's just my wild take.
Jefferson has like 4 touchdowns now because he said that.
Scores 4 touchdowns in this game.
That'd be amazing. He'll put up the Randy Moss game. Thanksgiving.
We should start showing Justin Jefferson our podcast just to make him mad, and then he'll have more motivation to do good.
Send him the clip.
Yeah.
Let's just start DMing him on Instagram and just be like, "Hey, you should watch our podcast."
Well, why are these white guys talking to me? All right. My last prediction, I'm going back to the college realm. The Minnesota Gophers will lose the Quick Lane Bowl versus Bowling Green. Yeah, boo me, boo me. I'm positive with my Vikings. I'm not positive with the Gophers. We don't have Cali McManus going into this game.
Cole Kramer
He's going
season.
into the transfer portal. We're 5-7. We only got in because our athletes are smart. And the last time we played Bowling Green was on a homecoming, and we lost.
I remember that.
You know, a little bit of revenge coming, but it's also at Ford Field, day after Christmas Day. But yeah, I just don't have a lot of faith in the Gophers.
Is Bowling Green any good?
They're 7-5. They're in the MAC.
Yeah.
And again, the Gophers should be better, but
Well, it's
They're
also
not.
a PJ Fleck led team, so anything's possible.
The
if they win
Gophers,
this bowl game, it's going to be another reason to keep him going next year.
the Gophers are, I think they've won their last 8 bowl games. So
They have
They
had
haven't-
good success in the bowl.
they haven't really played any big bowl games outside of the Outback Bowl in 2019. But
That
they
was
have
fun.
won.
Mhm.
They won the Quick Lane Bowl a few years ago against.
They won. They played at Chase Field the other year. I remember that. It was some sort of
Yeah.
Arizona Bowl.
Yeah.
All right. Sam O to close us out.
Eagles will not make it past the divisional round of the playoffs. I feel like the Eagles have gotten worse and worse this year, and I don't like the Eagles. I think either like the Lions or the Cowboys are gonna beat them out, and they're gonna be playing the Niners in the NFC Championship.
Well, I sure hope that comes true.
Me too. I hate the Eagles.
That would be great. I think it's good. The NFC Championship. It's going to be Eagles Niners. I
have two pretty kind of slam dunk one. Well, not necessarily slam dunk. So I'd like to try to throw at least one like really bold one in.
I'd
Eagles
like
have
to see the
lost
Philly
3
fans
straight.
humbled.
The offense has sputtered of late.
Yeah,
That
and
Patricia-led defense got cooked by Drew Lock on that last drive. They're looking downhill for Philly, but I feel like they're going to turn it around come playoff time. But man, I would really love for that to hit. I'm ready for that one now.
I just think they're gonna have a tough divisional round game against either Dallas, who they've lost to, or the Niners, who they lost to. So
A divisional game against the Niners would be wild.
yeah, but I mean, I don't think they're gonna win the division. I mean, I think Dallas is probably gonna win that division. They'll be a wild card team. So they're
Who's the 1 seed in the NFC?
It's the San Niners.
It'll be the Niners.
The Niners will be the 1 seed. I think.
where does Philly fall into this? Are they a 5 seed as of right now? Do they not?
Oh,
have
yeah,
the
they're the 5.
tiebreaker against?
They're the 5
So
because
they
they're
could.
tied with Dallas for the division lead.
So they could play in the divisional round. That's wild.
It's always fun seeing the Eagles get humbled. Just saying. Everyone, I think all
Also the
football
fans.
everyone that's a non-Eagles fan can agree that it's fun to watch Philly get humbled.
I
and
might
their fans get
I
humbled.
might be in the minority, but the only reason I don't like the Eagles is Nick Sirianni. I can't.
I don't
stand
like
him.
him either. But
But that's
not
the
true
only
right
reason
now.
I hate him. I don't know if you.
Yeah, they have one of
more
my favorite
reasons to hate.
Jordan Mailata is like one of my favorite offensive linemen.
I like Jalen Hurts. I like AJ Brown. I like all those guys. I just can't stand Nick Sirianni.
I don't like their coach and their fans, but the actual
fan
team
base
I'm
is
fine with.
Horrible.
I don't mind Philly fans. I got
I
family that currently resides in Philly. Raise them right.
I think
All
you
right.
guys forgot the favorite player on the team, Jason Kelsey. Come on, man.
Oh no, I love Jason.
You hype-
Sexiest
podcast.
man alive candidate, Jason
Sexiest
Kelsey.
man alive. Yeah.
I thought
Oh,
I was going to be a
should've won it.
candidate.
He got snubbed.
Always next year. Always
Maybe next year. Maybe next year,
Maybe
Matt.
next year.
You can be the candidate next year.
Maybe. Oh, he was just sending my tape. You gotta show them our intervention skit. Maybe that'll give me a
send them like your
Ooh.
middle school or send them your elementary school recess football film.
Oh, dude,
That'll convince
it's
them.
on VH. I have to whip out the VHS tapes real quick. I was cooking. No, I know your dad was filming me when I was younger. I don't know if that can count towards my highlight reel when I was a child.
All right, I gotta hop off. I gotta get to work, so I'll see you guys later.
Take care.
Peace out, Sam.
Peace out.
All right.
By the way, Matt, I'm pretty sure I was assigned a job by your mother. She told my mother that I'm supposed to look on her computer or just all around for pictures of you. Because apparently you guys don't have that many pictures of you like when you're younger, and we do. I'm supposed to look for those.
That's really funny.
Matt, are you the middle child?
I am a middle child.
That makes sense.
No wonder.
I don't have a lot of Christmas ornaments on our tree either, so the ones I would make in kindergarten and all that, no, we don't really have those.
Oh man. Hey, being an oldest child is pretty lit, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I'm gonna share something. As a success. That and the youngest, Joel is viewed as a success.
Okay, this is kind of random, but I want to know your guys' take on this. In our family, like my immediate family, we don't really give out gifts anymore. But then again, I'm the youngest, so we're all like college age. And I mean, for me, I'd rather just save my money than get a gift for someone else and have someone else give a gift to me. So like our family doesn't give out gifts anymore. Anyone have a take on that?
Because we're all broke.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sense. But I mean,
I don't really give gifts to anyone, but I'm chill with getting them. That's pretty cool.
If someone
my grandma's always like, give me a Christmas list immediately, and I'm just like, okay.
It's like I can't say no.
Like I can't say no to you, like being like, give me your list.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone tells me in advance they're gonna get me a Christmas gift, I mean, I don't want to get them a gift, but I also would feel bad if I just got one and then they just sit there with nothing.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Matt, I'll give you a gift. I'll give you a high five and a hug. And how about that?
Oh man, are you kidding me? That's the best Christmas gift ever.
I'll give you another.
You know what? I'm sorry. You know what I asked for Christmas?
What?
Like Josh Dobbs stuff before
you told me
plateaued.
No.
So now I'm gonna sit at Christmas. Wow, a Josh Dobbs jersey. Our emergency quarterback.
He's just going to be saying thank you while he's crying.
It's the Jordan crying meme. I really wanted this. Wow. I'd still rock it. I mean, if it ends up getting it, I mean, I'll still rock it.
You're going to be the Vine of the kid getting the avocado. It's an avocado.
It's a Josh Dobbs jersey.
Thanks.
Gift cards. If you ever are in need of Christmas gifts or ideas, gift cards. See, simple enough.
For like the last 3 years, I gave my family the lamest gifts ever, and I gave them all $20 and said, "Do whatever you want with this."
That's the smartest.
Nice.
I like that.
I mean, it's super basic, but it's like I'm not gonna waste my time to go out shopping, or I'm not waste, but I'm not gonna spend my time to go out shopping for you. So I'm just gonna give you money and do whatever you want with it.
Well, and then that you might get them something they don't even like. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Hey, here's money. Go buy something that you would want. Boom.
Or save it and do whatever you want with it.
Exactly.
Putting it into the stock market, kids.
Yeah. All right.
Let's
I
get
think
to some
time to do our final section. Oh, we still have game picks, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is.
I was so excited to do the last thing that we're doing.
That is our standings again. Sam O's in the lead, and everybody else can read the rest.
It does not count for the lead.
Isn't 13 still too small of a sample size?
What's our minimum number?
Yeah, 29 is the minimum right now.
Okay.
What about like 20?
I'm official.
How about 20? Is 20 considered the cutoff number?
25.
Okay. So he's still got an asterisk next to him now, but whatever. Mm-hmm. So here's this week's games.
Yeah.
So
do like a whole row.
All right. We got 16 on the docket. We'll probably run through pretty quick because, Thursday night, tomorrow, 3 going Rams. He's going New Orleans probably because he wants to be different and he's trying to catch up.
That's all.
But really, it's just hurting him worse. Everyone's going Cincinnati. Everyone's probably going Bills too because why wouldn't you? Packers and Panthers. Everyone's going Packers.
I contemplated Carolina.
Okay, I contemplated Houston here. I had Houston penciled in for a while until I saw CJ Stroud probably won't be playing again.
Then
I went
Oh,
back.
he's not playing?
No, I don't think so. You can switch it. You
Can I
want to switch
switch
it?
my... Yeah.
I think
He's
even
not
with
playing, I don't
CJ
think they're gonna
Stroud,
win.
Cleveland's defense is just going to be good enough.
But Joe Flacco's been cooking.
I'm saying
Joe
Cleveland's
Flacco has been
defense,
cooking.
though. But yeah, I agree. Joe Flacco's been nice with it.
Imagine if Joe Flacco was on the Vikings
Oh man,
instead of them trading for Josh Dobbs.
we didn't know. We
I
didn't
know.
know Joe Flacco still had it in him.
But here's the thing. Joe
Still got
Flacco,
that
at
dog
least
in
Joe
him.
Flacco's won a Super Bowl, and Josh Dobbs has done nothing really substantial.
Josh Dobbs
before.
can go to space.
gonna
It
go
is
to the
by far
moon,
the coolest accomplishment of any NFL player.
On the football field, what substantial things has Josh Dobbs done?
He
Nothing
led that
really.
comeback against Atlanta. That was pretty cool.
Okay, well,
It
other
doesn't.
than that,
It,
he's done
that is
nothing.
it won't win you an award, but it remains in your heart.
Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl, so Vikings are never going to win a Super Bowl.
Not in our lifetime.
Probably not. Everyone's going Indy.
Don't do that.
Everyone's going Seattle.
Closest and Minnesota sport team is the Timberwolves at this point,
Yes.
and they'll still let us down.
All right, we got two going Washington, and me and Sam O going with the Jets. Washington is terrible. I'm sorry. They are.
I just don't think the Jets' offense is going to muster enough, even with Washington's defense being statistically one of the worst in the NFL.
The Commanders, what's their record?
Like
Not
4-10.
good.
They started the year 2-0, and now they're 4-10. So they're 2 for their past 12.
Defense
I
has
don't-
really let them down.
I don't see why you would pick the Commanders.
Why would you pick the Jets?
They're at home. The Commanders are terrible. How is Ron Rivera still their coach?
The Jets are terrible. It's either Trevor Siemian or Zach Wilson.
Okay, I won't lie. I did make that prediction with Aaron Rodgers kind of in mind because I did these back on like Monday. But now that he's out, I don't care. I'm sticking with Jets. Aaron Rodgers, that deal was the biggest hoax I've ever seen because now he's not even going to be playing the rest of the year. So it was probably all just a publicity stunt.
I think he would have returned. If they were still in the hunt, I think he would have returned.
Maybe he probably would have, but they were just trying to get attention, I feel like. He needs the spotlight on him. It's Aaron Rodgers.
He was in a darkness retreat. It would make sense to have a spotlight on him.
All right. Unsurprisingly, I'm the only one that went Minnesota.
Wow.
Yeah.
Usually you're the only one picking against Minnesota.
Actually,
Now
kinda
you're the
surprising.
only one picking for them.
I'm surprised you both went with Detroit, honestly.
I got to be honest.
Really?
As I said last week, it's just Minnesota's got to reinstill that faith in me.
I think here's one where Kevin O'Connell's going to look at the locker room and tell them, if you guys want to win the division, obviously you have to win now, but he's like, if you want to make the playoffs, we have to win this game. So they're going to come out with an extra fire. What do you guys say? Fire in the belly. What is it?
He's going to play that Jonathan
You got
Gannon
fire in
video.
your gut?
You got
Fire in your gut. That's what it is.
Got fire in your gut?
He's going to tell them they need to win this game. So they're going to do it for him, all just to let it down in week 18.
For Jonathan Gannon.
So then we got this. 2 going Tampa, 2 going Jacksonville. This to me felt like a bit of a weird game, but the Jags kind of got, I wasn't really watching all of Sunday night's game, but they kind of got cooked.
There were some bad coaching, bad decisions, and turnovers cost them. I think that this is a game that they can look at as a rebound and get back on track after losing 3 straight.
The Bucks look pretty good, or maybe the Packers just look bad.
Baker Mayfield probably had one of his best games of his NFL career
He
last
threw
week.
4 touchdowns, I think.
381, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Oh
And,
my God.
the Packers had been rolling up until this game.
Chef Mayfield actually cooked something. He cooked a 5-star meal.
Baker
Yeah,
baked.
Baker was cooking.
Now we got arguably the worst game of the season. We thought maybe it could even be the Chargers and Raiders game until it actually turned out to be good, but not good at the same time. Cardinals and Bears, terrible game. 2 going Chicago. I'm surprised 2 even went with the Cardinals, honestly. The Bears,
Does it say AZ?
AZ, Arizona.
Come on, man. ARI.
I flip back and forth between them.
I'm gonna be
Depends.
honest.
ARI.
I don't pick Arizona enough to know what the correct abbreviation should be.
Touche. I haven't picked them once.
I probably haven't picked
This
them
is
all
probably
year
the first time I've picked them this year, and I can say AZ, and we all know who we're talking about.
Yet.
What? Okay. So AZ has been inputted twice. So that means we've picked the Cardinals twice, and that's this week. Nobody is. So this
Nobody's
is the only
picked Arizona once the whole season.
Nobody's.
Yikes.
No one has
Is
picked
this the
the
first week
Cardinals up
someone's
until
picked
now.
Chicago? So I mean, we were forced to have to pick one of them.
Well, the Bears. I mean, the Bears are bad, but they're actually like not that bad. They almost like beat the Browns this week.
Yeah.
They were a Hail Mary away from doing it.
Chase Claypool.
They're bad, but they're not that bad.
Chase Claypool would have never dropped that pass that Darnell Mooney did. Would have never.
Like the Bears are 5-9. Like you'd think they could be way worse than that.
The fact is, they won that game, they'd been a game back in Minnesota.
I mean, like the Bears were leading that whole game up until the end. They probably should have won, but then they realized they have to tank. So, yeah.
I mean, Carolina still sucks, so they'll get the pick, the number one pick.
Exactly. How far like below is the Carolina Panthers? Like how far behind are they? The team I think is the Patriots.
I know they're 2-10.
The Patriots I know are 2-12. So the Panthers, in theory, could no longer have the number one pick if they win another game and the Patriots continue to be awful. That would be funny.
The funny thing is that pick's owned by Chicago.
That's why Panthers fans want them to win, is because they know it's not their own pick, so they don't want to give them the one pick anymore.
They also, I don't know. I'm kind of a Panthers fan, so I'm on there. I see how they react. I mean, when they lose, though, it shows the ineffective coaching and why Frank Reich was a terrible hire, and they should have kept Steve Wilkes.
They had literally 3 fans in the stands this week.
It was bad. It was really
45-cent tickets. Let's go.
I mean, it was raining, and your team.
The flight would have cost more than going to the actual game. Parking probably cost more than the game itself.
I would assume.
You could have walked. If you lived close by, you could walk and watch an NFL game all for less than 50 cents.
Security might just let you in if you're trying to sneak in. They don't care.
At that point, yeah.
I
think there was probably 4 times as many people at the Minnesota State High School League football games than there were at the Panthers, whoever they played game.
I saw a picture.
Panthers, Packers.
I saw a picture of the stands at Bank of America Field, and someone said, "Why are the fans so spread out?" Like, and I was like, "Exactly. Like, if there's a bunch of open,
aren't they all flooding to the bottom bowl?
Yeah, why don't you just?
Because they don't want. They want to save themselves the embarrassment.
They want to
be
stay
caught
as
on live
far
TV.
away as possible. It's a
why even there?
It's a disease. Carolina football is, so they're trying to like social distance and mask up.
I bet there's people that have season tickets to the Panthers. You got to feel bad for those people.
Those are real warriors.
Those are some
sports, but if you look at the Minnesota State high school like hockey tournament, that gets more
my God.
than.
Well, they pack the X for that.
It's a holiday.
Yeah, that seats more than wild hockey games do.
Yeah. Well, we got the Dolphins and Cowboys. Could be a really good game. We're all going Miami except Sam O. Probably went Dallas because he needs to catch up. I didn't realize how like much different the Cowboys were at home and on the road until there were some stats about that during the Bills game this week.
They're undefeated at home and they're like what?
But it's like
4-4, 5-4 on the road.
Their offense is like completely different. It's like they put up 40 points per game at home, and it's like not even close on the road. Like they're
it's like 20 some, isn't it? Like 22 or something like that.
Yeah.
And a healthy Tyreek Hill this week.
Yeah.
They're getting wiped.
Yeah. So we'll see there. Pats and Broncos on Sunday night.
On NFL Network, so that means we can't watch it, which might be a blessing in disguise.
I think it will be.
We're all going Denver.
We're all going Denver, unsurprisingly. Raiders and Chiefs. Everyone's going KC. I don't think I've picked against KC a single time this year, honestly. Maybe once, but I don't think so. Everyone's going
You
Philly.
picked Buffalo. Buffalo to beat KC
Oh, yeah.
once.
They almost did, too.
They almost did.
They were so close.
You know who else almost beat the Chiefs too?
The Vikings. And
Yeah.
the Jets and insert team name.
Hey, Super Bowl preview on Monday night at 7:15.
It's probably the best game of the whole year we're going to get.
We're going to get Cardinals Bears, arguably one of the worst NFL games, to then one of the best NFL games on Christmas night.
Yes. So
Yeah, that'll be a fun game.
there's our picks. Oh, I should show ours last week. That's how we fared last week. Sam O had a lot wrong.
Ooh, that's
I think
rough.
Joel had the best week.
No, I'm pretty sure you did. I think you beat me by 1.
How about Sam Z, though? Look at that.
Yeah.
Hey,
You got
man.
none wrong.
100%. 100%.
Wait, whoa. He said Raiders, didn't he?
Well, he did, but he also said it like halfway through the game, and it'd be easier to tabulate if we just take them all out that week. So I just took them all off.
Because I was going to say that would have been a perfect week.
First perfect week in Soul of the Skull history.
Goes 1 for 1.
Goes 1 for 1.
Heck
Perfect
yeah.
week.
So that was ours last week. And here's our total standings. He's still in the lead at 63.5. I'm at 61.6. Big Lou's behind me at 60. And then Matt's there, and Sam O is trying to stay afloat, and he's not. So,
Sam,
yeah.
I don't know if you saw last week or watched it back, but one of my predictions was that you were going to win the game.
We'll find it.
Year.
He
And
said
I was going to win game picks this year?
Yeah, he said it right here.
So can you just do me a favor and just stop predicting?
Nah.
Keep studying.
Hey, are we gonna do do a playoff bracket? I think we should do like a playoff bracket, right? Before playoffs start. Well, right before playoffs start.
Kind of
right?
like March
Once we have all the
Madness
teams and everything.
almost. Yeah.
Kind of like March Madness. And
Yeah.
then you pick, and then that's your pick for the rest of the year. You don't get to do weekly picks.
Okay.
We
Cool.
could talk about that. That sounds fun.
I think we should do that. All right. Are we ready for our final section today, fellas?
Yes.
We got
all
a
right.
little bit of time.
So not too long ago, we did a kind of like stat guessing game sort of thing, right? We did most interceptions by players that were not defensive backs last time. Now, this is one that was just posted by PFF, and it is most missed tackles forced on runs and receptions this season, okay? There are 6 players.
So any position pretty much is in play here.
Any position is in play.
Christian McCaffrey.
That's who I was going to say
Christian McCaffrey is number 4.
Okay. So we got 4 off. Okay.
first. You said, when we talked about it kind of before we started, you said Deebo Samuel.
He was not.
Oh, I
He
forgot
was
that.
not.
Okay.
That's what I
No Debo.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs is not on here.
Oh, I know he makes a lot of guys miss.
Okay. This might be a dumb guess, but I'm just going to say it for the sake of saying it. Is a guy like Lamar Jackson, does he still make force missed tackles?
He does, but he's not on this list.
All right.
They try to keep him more as a passer,
Here,
not a lot of
I'll help you
design
guys
runs.
out a little bit. So AFC, 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 NFC, AFC. So there's 4 AFC and 1 NFC.
All right.
Derrick Henry
Not on the list.
makes a lot of broken tackles.
Let me think about.
Is it someone that's like completely odd, or is these all like mainstream guys we would know?
There's 2 of them that I don't think you guys will get.
Westbrook Akine.
Nick Westbrook-Akine is not on here.
Oh man, he had me in the first half. Not gonna lie.
You did.
If you guys start really struggling, I'll help you guys out.
What
a little
about-
more.
Okay, this might be dumb too, but I'm just thinking, since I got clowned on one time for saying that the Dolphins had a bad rushing offense, so I'm going to say Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert is number 2.
Oh, yes.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill is not on here.
Oh. So we got two AFC. We had two AFC off the board.
You have one NFC,
Oh,
one
yeah,
AFC.
no, that's right.
There were
Christian
4
McCaffrey.
AFC, 2 NFC.
All right.
So you have 3 AFC and 1 NFC left.
What about like? Okay, I don't know how much he runs the ball because now he's kind of more of a passer. What about like C.J. Stroud?
Not on here.
Okay, is that a dumb guess?
Is there any quarterbacks left? Or any?
There's no quarterbacks.
Oh, okay.
There's no quarterbacks or tight ends on here.
Okay.
Tyrod Williams.
He is not on this list.
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs is not on this list.
I know he's been bad this year, but you never know. Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler is not on this list.
Okay, not that
He's
surprising.
had a really bad year.
I drafted
Yeah.
him in fantasy in the first round of one of mine. And
Oh,
makes me
no.
die a little bit. I got him as like the 7th pick, so I thought the value was really good, and now it's just bad.
He's just
That's
been
how I feel
terrible
with
all
Diggs
year.
right now. Diggs is really plateaued.
Yeah.
Diggs?
Diggs is not on here.
I had a feeling he wouldn't be.
All right. There's
give us a
also
team?
no offensive tackles on this list.
No offensive tackles.
Not that surprised. Okay, this is also
I was gonna guess Trent Williams on that picks off the board.
Yeah, I know.
Dang.
I can't give you guys the teams because that'll give it away.
okay. This is kind of a
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris is not on here.
Okay,
But
this is kind
Jalen
of
Warren.
Jalen Warren is number 3.
I forget about him. This is a shot in the dark, but I'm going to take a guess at the NFC player, DeAndre Swift.
No.
That's a good guess, honestly. David
Think-
Montgomery.
It's not David
I wouldn't
Montgomery.
think
Think
he would.
further west. for
Kenneth
NFC.
Walker.
Kenneth Walker is number 5.
All right, so we need number 1.
All right, so you need number 1 and number 6.
Okay.
All right, I'll
First
give
num-
you this last hint. This is the last hint you get, okay? Do you want it now or do you want it later?
Up to you, Joel.
We can take it later. We'll keep going.
Okay.
James
I'm
Cook.
surprised we.
Say James Conner.
James Cook.
Cook.
James Conner. James Cook. James Cook is not on here.
What about
James Conner.
then?
James Conner is not on here.
Oh.
I was gonna say James Conner is a terrible guess.
I mean, I'm surprised we haven't gotten number 1 yet.
Is there any
Yeah,
chance?
it's not exactly who you would expect,
Any-
but it makes
any-
sense.
Any chance there's 2 people from the same team? Because I have an idea.
No.
Okay, I was gonna say Devon Achan or whatever
Come on, A-Chain.
Oh,
Achan, whatever it is, the Dolphins guy.
I think it's Achan.
I think I picked him up on.
Very-
Every time they
very
say his
fast
name, I'm
dude.
like,
Um,
I would say one of them is a very fast dude. The other one is fast, but he's not very fast.
I'm assuming Matt already guessed Tyreek.
He did.
Okay. Wait, did I say Jonathan Taylor already, or did I not say that?
You did
didn't.
not.
Okay, is Jonathan Taylor on there?
No.
he hasn't played a lot this year.
Yeah,
No, he hasn't.
Zach Moss.
So
has been
number
more, but-
number one has forced 74 missed tackles this year. And number 6 has forced 55.
Can you give us? Is it too much to ask if you give us the positions? You don't have to give us teams, but give us positions.
They're both running backs.
Okay, that's not that
So
surprising.
you guys were on the right track when you were thinking running back.
How
All
many
6
were
of them
left?
are running backs.
Do we? I know we had 2, but was it both AFC now?
Yes.
Travis Etienne.
Travis Etienne is number 1.
That makes sense. That does make sense. He's fast.
And now you just got number 6.
So I'm a huge Clemson guy. Why did I not think of that?
Do the Texans have any good running backs that I'm just missing and blanking?
Devin
on?
Singletary.
Did you
It's not
guess?
Devin Singletary.
Probably not.
Because Damian Pierce hasn't played much.
No.
Oh,
Well, he hasn't played much, but
is it him?
no.
Oh.
Yeah.
U.S. conference or no? Or like AFC West, East, South?
It's no, that'll give it away.
Or give us a half of the country. Is it on the left or right side?
Right side of the country.
Okay. Okay, I don't know how good he's been this
Brees
year.
Hall.
It's Brees Hall. Brees Hall's number 6. So our full
that
list
was a
for
shot in the dark, guess.
players
Hasn't
who
Brees
have
Hall been like
made-
splitting carries, kind of?
Oh no, he's the lead back.
Okay.
Dalvin Cook has been non-existent.
I was gonna say
Playing
Cook has
ball.
been doing nothing. I know.
Yeah.
Cook is cooked.
Okay, so our full list then for most missed tackles forced are Travis Etienne at 1 with 74, Raheem Mostert at 2 with 65, Jalen Warren at 3 with 61, CMC at 4 with 59, Kenneth Walker the third at 5 with 58, and finally Brees Hall at 6 with 55.
So Joel, we both got 3 then.
Good work.
Both just like crunch time. We tied in points and we tied in this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have time for one more?
Sure.
Sure.
All right. Fewest yards allowed in coverage, top 3 players. I am certain you will not get 2 of them.
So
Pat Surtain.
Pat Surtain is not on there.
okay.
Who puts guys in their seat?
I think you guys will get number 3. I don't think you guys will get 1 and 2. And it's only among cornerbacks with a minimum of 300 snaps.
Yeah.
Andrew Booth.
Andrew Booth is not on there because he does not have 300 snaps.
Okay, this is really dumb, but this guy's been playing really well lately. Stephon Gilmore.
It's not Stephon Gilmore.
Okay.
2 of them are on the same team.
Oh.
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey is not on there.
Man.
Where does Jalen Ramsey
Number
even play right now?
He's a Dolphin.
Oh.
Number
I
3
knew
has
that.
allowed 236 yards. Number 2 has allowed 215. And number 1 is phenomenal at 185 total yards allowed this year.
Wow. We've got a wild fan in the chat. What's up, bro?
Niner
Mooney.
Gang Mooney.
Is it a Mooney?
It's not. There's no Mooney. Who is Mooney?
That must be Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney. Okay.
He
Who?
plays offense.
I know.
Okay, I have
AFC, NFC.
Derek Stingley.
It's not Derek Stingley. 2 of them, the ones that are on the same team, are AFC, and the other one's NFC.
Travarius Ward.
Ward. It's not Ward.
Oh.
Dang.
I didn't realize how good the Texans secondary was until I was watching their game.
This YouTuber's going to do better.
Oh,
than
Ward's
us.
nickname is Mooney? Oh, I didn't know that.
See, we're a Vikings channel.
We're wild Vikings fans. We
Yeah, who is
We
who is
didn't
Niner
know.
Gang?
We appreciate
this
you
person?
watching.
Yeah,
Now
I
we're-
mean,
we're now
we
we're
have like
22
probably like
in. I'm
what,
surprised
one
someone's
viewer right now,
watching.
but
Play along.
thanks for
We'll do
sticking
better.
with us, Niner Gang, on a
Mhm.
not Niners podcast.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's son of- oh, if we're talking about Niners, how about that Vikings win against the Niners? Man.
Oh yeah,
Oh, shoot. Okay.
who's really the best team in the NFC?
Wait, how did you say it shook out NFC versus AFC? I wasn't listening for that part.
So the 2 that are on the same team are 2 and 3, and they are AFC, and then the person that's in first is NFC.
All right. All right.
Appreciate you, Niner gang.
We do appreciate you, Niner Gang. You're a real one.
Cam Sutton.
Cam Sutton is not on here.
I wouldn't think he would be. Jalen Jackson.
Jalen Jackson is not on here. Who's Jalen Jackson? What team does he
I was
play
trying to
for?
think of that Jackson on the Bears, that corner. It's not Eddie. They have another Jackson.
I don't think it's Jackson.
Jalen Johnson then.
Oh.
Jalen Johnson is number 1 at 185 total yards allowed this year.
I feel like you don't hear that much about him.
Exactly.
No.
I mean, he's good, but it's not like, yeah, he doesn't get like national steam or anything.
All right, the other 2, I'm gonna give it away if I say it. If I say they're like conference.
Boy.
Because it's obvious once I say their
So
conference.
now they're both AFC.
They're both AFC, and they're both on the same team.
Who's a good corner duo in the AFC that I'm not thinking of?
That's what I'm trying to think about here.
Niner Gang, help us. Come on. I know you're still in here. If Sam O was in here, we would have already got this figured
Oh, it would be over.
Oh, for sure it would be over. Niner Gang, where you at, dude?
He probably
You
clicked
guys
off. He
need some
realized
help.
how boring this gets.
Sauce Gardner? I don't know.
Trent McDuffie.
Sauce Gardner's number 3.
Oh,
Oh,
DJ
so
Reed.
Jets.
DJ Reed is not on here.
So if it's Sauce Gardner, who's
Because
the
DJ Reed is the slot corner. So who's the other outside corner?
Whitehead's a safety, isn't he?
Yep.
Oh, dang it.
I will give you a hint. He has the same name as a running back who had like 2 breakout games like a season ago. That was also on the Jets. It's not Jair Alexander, Niner Gang, but that's a good guess.
Oh, I'm trying to think about it. I feel like I can like picture it.
He was the backup to I guess he started most games. Yeah, I guess he started most games the last 2 seasons when Breece Hall was out.
Oh, yeah. The running back?
Mm-hmm.
I can like
He has the
picture it.
exact same name.
I remember him cooking in fantasy, but I never picked him up.
Yeah.
Michael Carter?
So something Carter.
The second?
Michael Carter the second. There we go.
Oh.
Michael Carter the second.
I did not know that.
I remember
they
Michael
have a
Carter
corner
going
and a
off
running
last
back
year.
that have the exact same names.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Sauce Gardner, Michael Carter, and Jalen Johnson is the best corner in the NFL right now.
What a weird list.
Right? Weird list. PFF has some fun stuff though.
Yeah.
Besides, Justin Jefferson is Jair Alexander's dad. So
Yes.
Agreed. I think I have
All right.
that AI picture. Yeah. It's Jordan Addison.
well, that'll be our thumbnail next week.
Jordan Addison with Jair.
That's
That
gonna be
has to be our thumbnail next week.
That being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking around. Shout out Niner Gang for playing along.
Yeah, shout out Niner Gang.
We love you. Subscribe,
We love
hit
you,
the bell
Niner
icon.
Gang.
Join us again soon.
Yeah, we'll be back probably post game, right?
That's Christmas, and I mean we could do one.
Me and Matt can.
Would be together.
Yeah, we'd be together, but we can do it on Sunday.
I can probably do one. It's Monday night, right? Or is it Sunday?
It's
Sunday
Sunday
night.
afternoon.
Probably not then.
All right. We'll pitch
But
it in the group chat
Next week.
sometime.
Next
Next
week.
Wednesday for sure we'll be back. Maybe in
Next
person.
Wednesday.
We'll just have to
Maybe
wait
in
and
person
see.
next Wednesday.
Merry Christmas, everybody. We probably
Merry
won't,
Christmas, Niner Gang.
probably won't see. We
Got a
probably
gift
won't
for
be
the
around.
Ravens.
That's-
Attaboy.
I know Nick Bosa's ready to have a field day. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with all your friends. Have a good day, night, and as always, SKOL Vikings. We'll see you next time.